Shabbat Tov, Rabotai. It is Tov Kislev, and we are continuing in the 8th parak of Shabbat on Mishnah Daled, Devek, glue, Kedeli ten Barosh HaShavshevet. So what is a Shavshevet? It is a bird trapping branch. You'd set up some sort of stick or branch, put glue on it, put some birdseed there, and the birds will come fly by and get stuck, and then the bird trapper can put them in a cage. Zefet v'gofrit, pitch or sulfur, kidei lasot nekev, to make a hole. So it's actually a hole in a little bottle that they put in kesef chai, which is quicksilver or mercury, and they make an itty-bitty hole in it because you only need to use a little bit of mercury at a time, and this will block up the hole. Sha'ava, wax, kidei litenel pi nekev koton, enough to put on a small opening of a bottle to seal up a bottle. That's like a little bottle or flask of wine. Harseat, clay, like scraps of clay here that you're going to form into a shape. Kdelasot pikor shadsorfe barzel, enough to make the mouth opening of a goldsmith's smelter. He has like a crucible to make a very hot fire in the middle, and it's a certain shape. And this opening, this pikor, is to get the air in, that he uses the mapuach, the bellows, to make the fire very hot so he can melt gold and other metals. Rabbi Yehuda mer kedei lasot pitput, not to make the opening, but to make the pitput is like the little leg, the little stand, to get this thing off the ground. Subin, bran, kedei liten al pikor shetzorfei zohav. So the goldsmith would use this bran to make the fire brighter. It's just like a handful of bran. It's enough to make it just a little bit hotter to melt the metal that you're smelting down. Sid, plaster, kadei lasud ketona shebebanot, enough to apply plaster to the small finger of a girl. So why are you putting plaster on a girl? It's a hair removal treatment for girls who are maturing quickly and they're growing extra hair and they want to remove the hair. The partner explains here that the less wealthy girls would use plaster as a hair removal. I think nowadays they use some kind of wax. And he says the wealthy girls would use fine flour, and the princesses would soak them in shemen zayit shlevi shlish. And that's the famous reason that they soaked Esther and all the other girls in the when Achashverosh was collecting girls for Purim, which is coming up. I mean, Hanukkah is coming up first, but then Purim's next. So they would soak them in olive oil to remove unwanted hair. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says it's to make a kedei lasot kilkul, to make a kilkul, and that's to sort of push back and hold back the hair right above the ears. Rabbi Nechemi Omer kedei lasot andipi. Andipi is similar. That's kind of the sideburn, the hair that's kind of coming down in front of the ear. So you put a little plaster there to hold it down. Great. On to Mishnah Hay. Adama. Adama is usually earth. Here really means clay. Bartner says tit adom. It's like red clay. Kechotam hamartzufim, enough to make a seal for a packing sack, like a big sack to hold things, and you would put a seal on it so it hasn't been tampered with. It's Rabbi Akiva. That's Rabbi Akiva says kechotam igrot. They say a smaller amount, enough to seal a letter with. Zevil v'choladak, manure or fine sand, kedei lezobel kelach shel kruv, enough to fertilize one stalk of a kruv, of a cabbage. So if you're bucky in cabbage, you know how to raise cabbage, and you know how much this is. Divrei Rabbi Akiva, Chachamim omrim kedei lezobel kreisha. They say enough to fertilize a leek plant. Cholagas, what about coarse sand, bigger sand? Kedei liten al malo kofsid, enough to make a trowel full of lime, of plaster. They need sand as part of the plaster. Mishnah continues, kone, a reed, kedei lasot kulmus, enough to make a pen. So their pens were made out of a reed. You cut it into a point so you can dip it in the ink and write correctly. Im haya of, if it was too thick for a pen, o merusas, or it's broken, kedei lavoshel bebeitza kola, so it's not a pen, but you use it as firewood to cook a beitza, and a beitza kola means an easy egg. And the Gemara explains that's the egg of a chicken. Beitza kola shebabeitzim, so the easiest egg among eggs, which is a chicken egg, according to the Gemara, trufa and suda ilpas, and it's already been stirred and it's already been put onto the pan. So you're just adding a reed, a stick, big enough to cook up this egg. And the Kehati explains it's only a kikrogeris of this egg. Because when we deal with food stuff, we always use a kikrogeris, which is enough food to satisfy a person. So the Qadi says it's that amount of an egg, not even an entire egg. Shkoyach Rabosai, Shvatov.